think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather. We already know. We knew Crawford is a great fighter.
The comparison, listen, Crawford Mayweather would have been an amazing fight in their prime. Just like you insert Ray Leonard in there, just like you insert Ray Robinson in there. What a round robin that would have been.
He tried. You catch him, he want to catch you back. You know what I mean? You fighting Bud, he's not. Bud's not running from nobody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I felt that I had the upper hand in our competition.
Boxing superstar Canelo Alvarez has stepped into the conversation after Terence Crawford accepted Floyd Mayweather's fight challenge. Canelo didn't hold back. He warned that if the two ever shared the ring, Crawford would likely come out on top. According to Canelo, Crawford is the more complete fighter at this stage of boxing history. He highlighted Crawford's incredible timing, sharp skills, and the discipline that has carried him through so many divisions. In his words, Crawford is not just talented. His extraordinary Canelo also made it clear that Crawford's journey deserves respect. Moving up weight classes and still dominating is no easy task, and in his view, Crawford has already secured his place among the sport's elite. Fans, analysts, and fellow fighters alike, he said, should recognize just how much Crawford has accomplished. For Canelo, Crawford's greatness isn't up for debate anymore. It's something the boxing world needs to celebrate.
I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather. We already know. We knew Crawford is a great fighter, and I did what I supposed to do, right? I tried for every way, and I trained really hard, and he deserved all the credit. No, I try my best tonight, and I just cannot figure out the style.
Was it something specific, the movement or his speed or power, or what? Was there something you could put your finger on that gave you the most trouble?
Everything.
Okay.
He have everything. You know what? Sometimes you try and your body cannot go, right? That's my frustration. Maybe I can figure out Crawford, but my body cannot go anymore. So I try it, but my body just not let me go. And you need to accept it. That's it. He's a great fighter. He's a good fighter. He know how to move and everything.
Boxing analyst Garage Hackett weighed in on Canelo Alvarez's remarks about Terence Crawford, offering a sharp comparison that caught attention. He reminded fans that Canelo himself once suffered a defeat at the hands of Floyd Mayweather, while Crawford later went on to secure a victory over Canelo in a very different stage of the Mexican champion's career. Hackett stressed that the circumstances matter. When Canelo fought Mayweather at just 23 years old, he was still learning, still developing, and hadn't yet reached the peak of his craft. He lacked the Polish maturity and strategic depth that would later define him as one of boxing's biggest stars. Crawford's matchup, Hackett explained, came at a much higher level of difficulty. By the time he faced Canelo, Alvarez was no longer the inexperienced youngster. He had already become the face of the sport, a seasoned champion with a complete skill set and global recognition. That is why, according to Hackett, Crawford's victory carries a different weight. Beating a fully established version of Canelo is not just another win. It is proof of Crawford's standing among the elite, and a statement that his accomplishments should be viewed in a special light. Unlike the earlier version that fell to Mayweather, this was Canelo at his absolute peak.
Heard that. What I think is, when Floyd beat me, I was 23, I wasn't polished. When Bud beat me, I was the man. I was the man. And he beat me fair and square. He beat me at my game and he beat me at his game. That's why Canelo said that. Do I believe that? It's tough to believe. We're not going to ever see Bud versus Floyd. And it's crazy. It's crazy because I would love to see that fight, but I know we're not going to see it. But I can only take Canelo's word because he's the man that's been in the ring with both of them. But I understand why he said it. I was a kid when I fought Floyd. He wasn't a kid literally, but he was young. He was young. There was a lot he didn't know. There was a lot he didn't understand about boxing. that he later on learned and got better. But Bud beat the better version of me, even though it's the ran down version. I'm saying that because it is some wear and tear there with Canelo. I've been saying it the whole time. When a guy got almost 70 fights in current time, with all those big camps he's been doing and all that, trust me, it's some wear and tear there. I'm not making excuses for Canelo. I'm just saying, I do give Bud his credit though for beating Canelo, and Canelo understands I am a better fighter today than I was back then. But that's hard to say because Floyd, you know what I'm saying? I feel like Bud took maybe 20% of what Floyd did and added that to his repertoire for this fight. So that's why I'm saying it's tough to say.
Viewers were left stunned, almost in disbelief, as the final rounds unfolded. What began as a cautious approach turned into complete control, with every exchange showing more confidence and more dominance. It wasn't just a fight at that point. It felt like a moment in history being written right in front of everyone's eyes. Analysts explained that what we witnessed was something rarely seen in boxing. Competing at a brand new weight division for the very first time, against one of the greatest fighters ever to step into the ring, and still delivering that kind of performance. By all accounts, it should not have been possible. Yet it happened, and it was extraordinary. The performance was described as far beyond exceptional. Not simply an outlier, but something even greater, an anomaly in the sport. This wasn't just about skill or timing, but about pushing human limits in ways that leave experts shaking their heads. It was a display that reminded everyone why certain fighters are remembered forever. At 37 years old, the achievement was even more remarkable. Most athletes at that age are past their prime, their bodies worn down from years of punishment. Many admitted that by that stage in their own careers, they could barely imagine competing, let alone at the highest level. To see someone defy those odds and deliver such a flawless showing was nothing short of incredible.
And you're watching, wow, towards the end, towards the final rounds, it really started getting comfortable and really started putting it on him. I'm like, this is amazing.
You know, one of those rare, like that's history, obviously, right? Watching somebody do, you shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to fight at that weight for the first time ever.
Against one of the greatest
greatest of all time, fucking, and do what you did. It is beyond, like my favorite, an outlier. You're beyond an outlier. You're an anomaly.
Yeah, something special. And
something
he's
really
30,
special.
I believe he's 37.
Yeah, one of those where you shouldn't be able to do that by any account. By any account, 37, my body was so wrecked. I'm like, fuck you. You know, I can barely go bowling.
Former champion Pauli Malignaggi has stepped into the spotlight to share his take on the ongoing debate over whether Floyd Mayweather or Terence Crawford deserves the edge in boxing history. Malignaggi stressed that conversations like these rarely reach a final verdict, since each fighter represents a completely different generation, shaped by distinct challenges and rivalries. He noted that while fans are passionate about stacking up resumes, the reality is that greatness wears a different face depending on the era. For Malignaggi, the true value of this debate isn't about crowning one man over the other. It's about celebrating the brilliance that both have brought to the sport and giving fans something meaningful to discuss. When it comes to Mayweather, Malignaggi praised his flawless record, legendary defensive skill, and the unmatched legacy of retiring without a single loss. On the other hand, he also highlighted Crawford's unique path, dominating across multiple weight classes, consistently beating elite opponents, and carving out his reputation as one of boxing's most complete fighters. In his eyes, both men deserve their place among the all-time greats. The comparisons may stretch on forever, and there may never be a universally agreed answer, but that's exactly what keeps boxing alive. The rivalries, the debates, and the endless what-if scenarios are what fuel excitement across generations and make the sport so captivating for fans worldwide.
154-pounders, and it was a young Canelo and a very tough Cotto who was punching very hard from 40 to 54. You know, remember Cotto had knocked out Delvin Rodriguez at 54. He'd still done some damage at 54, and I thought
won a title at 60.
Yeah, and I thought he knocked out Martinez at 60, and I thought he gave Mayweather a pretty good fight at 54. I don't know. I can't say I disagree or agree. I just think that Mayweather, because it's so far away, so long ago, you know, and people sort of start to underestimate the things he did. You know, people talk about Canelo takes his repertoire from the Mayweather repertoire. No, he doesn't. Mayweather fought ex-champions. This guy's fighting guys who will never even smell, may never smell a belt in their life, and he was fighting them. So you know, Mayweather, even if you're saying, oh, he didn't fight the very best, he still fought champions and ex-champions, even at 47, even at 54.
Former champion Timothy Bradley has sparked headlines with a bold take, arguing that Terence Crawford would have the necessary tools to overcome Floyd Mayweather, even at his very best. Bradley didn't shy away from praising Crawford, describing him as a fighter with the perfect combination of intelligence, adaptability, power, and technical mastery, qualities he believes could neutralize Floyd's famed defensive brilliance. According to Bradley, what makes Crawford stand apart is his ability to adapt in real time. Few fighters can make the right adjustments mid-fight, but Crawford has proven time and again that he can change strategies on the fly, breaking down opponents with precision. Coupled with his sharp timing and natural instincts, Bradley believes Crawford would present a nightmare matchup for Mayweather. His statement wasn't just analysis, it reflected deep admiration. Bradley views Crawford as a rare talent whose achievements demand recognition at the highest level of boxing history. For him, Crawford isn't simply another great champion. He's a fighter with the potential to surpass even the most untouchable legends of the sport. In Bradley's eyes, the Omaha native has already secured his place among boxing's elite. But if conversations about the all-time greats continue, Bradley insists Crawford deserves to stand right alongside names like Mayweather, and maybe even above them.
The GOAT, oh, absolutely. But Terence Crawford will whoop his ass. He would beat Floyd Mayweather. I'm telling you right now, he will beat Floyd Mayweather too. He will beat him too. He got everything it takes to beat Floyd. Floyd struggled in the first half against Zab Judah. Zab Judah, a damn terrific fighter. Terrific fighter, but he ain't no damn Terence Crawford. Especially from the southpaw position. Floyd didn't like fighting southpaws. Floyd reached with that right hand. You think he gonna reach against one of the best back foot counterpunchers in the game? He gonna reach with that right hand against Crawford? He gonna get slept reaching with that backhand. The way he reaches with that. That level change backhand he throws too? No, man, that pull jab he does too, that ain't gonna work. That is not gonna work. Floyd got a 72-inch reach. Yeah, he had quickness, fast reflexes. However, Crawford got all of that too. He got all of that too. And he got a 75-inch reach. Great counterpuncher. Can concentrate all night. Can put pressure on Floyd. He can even invite Floyd in. Yep. I noticed. Floyd's not having success. He started to step on the gas. That's what he do. And he gonna run into problems with Crawford because Crawford hits harder than him.
Fans have been buzzing with questions, with some even asking, who's Bivol on Floyd Mayweather's resume? While that debate continues, a new headline is stealing attention. Reports suggest that Terence Crawford has his sights set on making history as a six-division world champion. Crawford, already celebrated for conquering multiple weight classes and dismantling elite opponents, is looking to push his legacy even further. Few fighters in the entire history of boxing have managed to capture titles in 6 different divisions, and chasing that milestone would put him in truly rare company. The talk of Crawford moving up to middleweight has only added fuel to the excitement. Entering the 160-pound division would mean facing naturally bigger, stronger opponents who bring new challenges in power and durability. Yet, for a fighter like Crawford, known for his adaptability, sharp timing, and relentless ambition, this leap is seen not just as possible, but as the next great test of his career. If he succeeds, it would cement Crawford's name among the sport's most legendary figures. More than just titles, it would be proof of a fighter willing to push boundaries, daring to do what most wouldn't even attempt. For boxing fans, The possibility of Crawford chasing greatness at middleweight is another reason to keep watching closely. Adding even more intrigue to Terence Crawford's journey, Janibek Eliminuli has stepped forward with a bold challenge, daring Crawford to meet him at middleweight and prove he has nothing to fear. The undefeated Kazakh champion, who has been steadily building a reputation as one of the most avoided fighters in the division, views this as the perfect chance to secure a career-defining showdown against one of boxing's modern greats. For Crawford, taking such a fight would be about more than just adding another belt to his collection. It would symbolize a pursuit of legacy, testing himself once again against bigger, stronger opposition in yet another weight class. Defeating a dangerous and undefeated champion like Janibek would send a powerful message that Crawford's dominance isn't limited by size or division. Whether the matchup becomes...
And Terence Crawford and his team stated that if he does stay in the sport of boxing and he does move down, he's not going to drop down below 160. And so it's being reported that Terence Crawford wants to become a 6th division champion. And a guy that he had his sights set on is now calling him out aggressively and daring him to come down and fight him. And that's Janibek, who is seen to be the best 160-pounder in the world. And he's the unified IBF and WBO 160 middleweight world champion. The middleweight division, 160, is a glamour division. There's the top three glamour divisions in the sport of boxing is welterweight, 147. Terence Crawford knocked out every opponent he faced at welterweight and became undisputed there.
One analyst recently revisited an often overlooked chapter in Terence Crawford's story, the memory of Miguel Silky Smooth Gonzalez, the last man to hand Crawford a loss during his amateur days. He pointed out how rare and distant that defeat feels now, given the fighter Crawford has become. Today, top contenders know that overcoming him requires extraordinary preparation, unmatched discipline, and a level of execution few can reach, similar to how opponents once viewed Floyd Mayweather during his prime years. The analyst emphasized that Crawford has transformed into one of the most complete fighters in the sport. His game is built on razor-sharp defense, pinpoint accuracy, and a frightening ability to switch gears instantly. Much like Mayweather once frustrated opponents by making them miss and punishing their mistakes, Crawford now carries that same aura of untouchability inside the ring. What makes Crawford especially dangerous, he explained, is his adaptability. He can read opponents quickly, avoid unnecessary punishment, and then strike with clinical precision. For rivals, this means that even a flawless training camp might still not be enough. To stand a chance, fighters must prepare for every possibility, because Crawford is the type of champion who can dismantle a game plan in just a few rounds. For fans and experts alike, the comparison is striking. Where Mayweather once stood as the mountain every fighter wanted to climb, Crawford now represents that same peak, embodying the near-impossible challenge. Brian Bomac McIntyre, the longtime trainer and strategist behind Terence Crawford, gave his perspective on the highly discussed victory over Canelo Alvarez. In his eyes, the fight was straightforward for Crawford, largely because of the meticulous preparation that went into every possible scenario. McIntyre stressed that they entered the ring with a clear plan, and Crawford executed it with ease, making what many expected to be a brutal test look almost effortless. Beyond the fight itself, McIntyre also tackled the criticism that continues to follow Crawford's career choices. He pointed out that boxing fans and analysts are quick to create lists of opponents they believe Crawford should face, as though his greatness depends solely on ticking names off a checklist. When those fights don't happen, accusations of avoiding challenges often surface, but McIntyre pushed back firmly against those narratives. He insisted that Crawford isn't ducking anyone. Rather, he's pursuing his own vision for his career. To him, legacy isn't built by bowing to outside noise or chasing the approval of critics. It's built by consistently stepping into the ring, conquering challenges, and leaving no doubt when the final bell sounds. For McIntyre, Crawford's resume already speaks volumes. The focus, he argued, should not be on who fans want him to fight next, but on the dominance and success he has already achieved at the highest levels of the sport. In his view, Crawford's path is his own to define, and history will ultimately judge him by his victories, not by the demands of others.
Terence Crawford, what did you do to actually get a win over him?
I agree with Augie. With what he said about Floyd, I'm going to say about Crawford. You got to punch with Crawford. You got to counter Crawford and punch with Crawford. You got to bang the body with Crawford. You got to stay on top of Crawford. You know what I mean? Fight him in that phone booth if you can. I mean, as I remember, that's exactly what I did. You know, Crawford, he switches and all that. I don't get that. I don't get out my hookup with all the switching he does. But what tripped me out was he got low in the ring. Like, he kind of like cut his height down. I had a field day with that. He should have stayed tall. You know, he cut his height down, and you know, I stayed in his chest. You know, and you got to counter Crawford. You got to fight Crawford. And what I always thought about Crawford was he's easily taken out his hookup. I thought, you know, maybe he fought his fight. I thought he fought my fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he grew out of getting out of his hookup. I think I think he learned how to just kind of adjust and do what needed to be done more so.
Break that down for us, guys. What do you guys mean the hookup? Break that down for us.
So yeah, you know what?
Getting caught up in a war?
I go ahead, Miguel. Like break down Bud getting caught out of his hookup.
Well, you know, with Bud, I thought, you know, but you can easily get Bud to fight you.
Back in the day. Yeah. And you know, Gamboa, you know, showed parts of that. You know, and Bud, all his fights, Bud fights you. Yeah.
Bud gets, you know what I mean? Every fight I see Bud fighting, even still to this day, but I totally understand what Sean's saying. For sure. Bud's the truth. But when I see Bud fighting, you catch him, he want to catch you back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You fighting Bud, Bud's not running from nobody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I felt that I had the upper hand in our competition.
Tony Jeffrey added his voice to the ongoing debate, taking a moment to reflect on what made Floyd Mayweather so untouchable in his era. He explained that Mayweather's brilliance wasn't defined by defense alone. It was the total package. His footwork, timing, and ability to outmaneuver even the sharpest opponents created a style that was nearly impossible to solve. Jeffrey emphasized that Floyd's movement inside the ring was close to flawless. He could pivot out of danger, control distance with precision, and make world-class fighters swing at nothing but air. This mastery of space and rhythm not only frustrated his rivals, but also allowed him to dictate the pace of nearly every fight he ever entered. He also reminded fans that Mayweather's resume is filled with victories over some of boxing's most respected names. From champions to legends, Floyd consistently stepped up to the biggest challenges and walked away with his record unblemished. For Jeffrey, that track record of conquering elite competition is as important as the technical brilliance he displayed. While acknowledging the extraordinary feats of Terence Crawford, Jeffrey made it clear that Mayweather's career remains one of the most decorated and technically remarkable in the history of the sport. In his view, Crawford may be building a case for himself, but Mayweather's body of work still stands as the gold standard for greatness.
Absolutely, but they're probably thinking the way we were all thinking that just because of the weight, he should be okay because he's the naturally bigger man. But someone like Crawford, obviously, who's done what he's done, you have to be on the top of your game. And I felt with Canelo, it was probably too many single shots that he was throwing, but he wasn't throwing the usual singles and backing it up because he was getting counted.
And he wasn't allowed to.
Yeah, it wasn't just that Canelo was bad is what I'm trying to get at. Crawford was absolutely sensational on the night and the deserved winner and one of the best.
Because the other side of the argument would be that they actually thought they might be getting Crawford at the right time because he hadn't fought for a while and had some particular surgery. I mean, did it go, as I said to you at the top of the show, Bomac, I mean, I watched you in the corner and I thought it was a exercise in how a corner should be conducted in terms of the communication, the coherency of it, and the discipline behind who spoke, when they spoke, what they said, and what needed to be heard. Did the fight go exactly as you had mapped out in your mind and what you thought would manifest itself? Is this your last fight? You know, it's really annoyed me with Max Kellerman going in and making that the stop part of his questions. Do you think, Bomac, that he gets the recognition and the appreciation that his achievements merit?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Why do you think that is?
I think because of the simple fact that Terence is his own man. You know, he knows the path that he wants to go. And some of the boxing critics or some of the boxing people around boxing figure he should go this route or he should go that route. When he didn't go that route and he went this route, or he's ducking the other middleweights. I mean, the other welterweights. So he's ducking the 140-pounder. No, he's not ducking them. He's just not available. Well, he should have went this way. I didn't want to go that way. I wanted to go this way because that's the way I wanted to go.